So this is going to be a follow-along video for a series of hip openers that you can go through 1 to 3 times. I'm going to go through them 3 times in this video. I would recommend that you go through them that many times as well. This will often be either a good warm-up, a good cool-down, or something to do on its own. But these 3 movements go together synergistically to help open up the hips and help the lower back and hips. It can even help the neck if you have a lot of neck tension. If you're actually holding a lot of deep core and hip tension, you can also wind up having neck tension as a result. So I'm going to go through this as a follow-along, step by step, and I'm going to show a couple different variations as we go through. So just follow along with me and we can do it together. So the first thing that we're going to do is a basic cobra stretch. Now, the cobra stretch you can do either on the balls of your feet with your hips hanging down, squeezing your glutes, or you can lay your legs on the ground and point your toes back. Either one is fine. I'm going to start with this one because it's a good way to start. It's kind of like the wiggle. What we're going to do is start in this position, squeezing our glutes. We're going to look over one shoulder back at the foot. Then we're going to look over the other shoulder back at the foot. And we're going to repeat that going 1, 1. And we're going to move real slow and move into it. 2, 2. And I want to make sure I'm keeping my shoulders pressed down. They're not up like this. I also want to make sure I'm keeping my glutes squeezed. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sit back into frog's pose. So we're going to drive our knees out with our feet slightly tucked in. And I'm going to keep my forearms flat on the ground. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to support my head on my hands just like so. And I want to feel a stretch in my inner thighs. I'm going to hold this for 45 seconds and I'm just going to focus on breathing. So we're going to take a couple deep diaphragm breaths. We're going to breathe in and slowly let out. One of the ways that I like to control my breath is I imagine I'm blowing out through a tiny straw. So I breathe in through my nose and then out through my lips like I'm blowing through a little straw. And then in through my nose, filling up my belly. We're going to do one more breath. Breathe in through the nose and out through the pursed lips. Awesome. Now we're going to come forward. We're going to bring our knees in, and we're going to put one foot forward with our hands on the ground just inside of our foot, and we're going to put the back foot on the ground firmly, and we're going to push the hips forward, driving the chest up and keeping the head in a neutral position. I don't want to look ahead. I want to stay in a neutral position. We're going to hold that for 45 seconds. Again, just breathing and trying to open up the hips. So if I push through that back foot, I can inch this forward. Now it's key, I want my knee over my ankle when I'm in this position. And I want my hands on the inside. You can see I'm on my fists because my body likes that more. You can be flat on your palms as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But in reality, your arms shouldn't be taking a lot of the weight. Most of the weight should be on your legs. And again, we're focusing on breathing. Breathing in through the nose, out through the lips. And we do that to slow the exhalation down, because that helps to down-regulate our system. We're going to come back from there, switch to the other side, hands in the middle. We're going to drive through the back foot forward, and go. Breathing in through the nose, out through the lips. In through the nose, out through the lips. One more time, in through the nose, out through the lips. I'm keeping tension in that back foot and leg. And come on out of that. Now for the second round, I'm going to show the Cobra a little bit different. Instead of having my knees and my feet on the ground, I'm going to be up on the balls of my feet. So I'm going to have a nice wide stance. I'm going to drop my hips down. I'm going to lock my knees, squeeze my glutes. I'm going to look over one shoulder. If this is too difficult, stay with the first one. This would be like an intermediate level. So I'm going to look over the shoulder. 2, look over the shoulder. 2, and as I do that, the opposite hip drives into the ground. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. Now I'm going to put my knees apart and I'm going to sit back into frog's pose. We're going to hold that, breathing in through the nose, out through the lips. In through the nose, out through the lips. In through the nose, out through the lips. All right, then we're going to come forward, put one foot forward, one foot back. We're going to, again, extend that out. I want my knee over my ankle. I'm going to drive my hips forward by pushing with my back foot. We're going to hold that for 45 seconds, breathing in through the nose, out through the lips. In through the nose, out through the lips. In through the nose, out through the lips. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. Again, pushing through that back leg, making sure the knee is over the ankle, and in through the nose, out through the lips. In through the nose, out through the lips. In through the nose, out through the lips. Moving back. And now we're going to go through it one more time, and we're going to change the cobra pose to an even more advanced position. So this time, I'm going to have, now remember, if you've already done the first one and you were comfortable there, stay there. You don't need to do this one. If you liked the second one and you were comfortable there, stay there. You don't need to do this one. This one's if you're looking to upgrade and have a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm going to start with my feet down, just like we did before. I'm going to drop my hips back. I'm going to come down, driving my hip down, looking over my shoulder. Then I'm going to come down, driving my hip down, looking over my shoulder. That's 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. Very good. All right, now we're going to sit back into frog's pose. And breathe. Slow, controlled breaths. Focusing on that breath, slowly exhaling. All right, come on out of there. One last time through the lunge. Foot's forward, hands are on the inside of the leg. Ball of the foot is down, knee stays on the ground, driving the hips forward. Now the goal here is not to get the chest down. The goal here is to get the hips to open up more and more. So we're not trying to drop the chest. We actually want the arms locked so that the hips have to get wider apart. That's key. So we're just going to keep breathing into this. Again, we don't want it to be past a 7 of intensity on a scale of 1 to 10. We just want to work on even breath. Good, come on out of that. Switch to the other side. Hands down, feet are apart, driving the hips forward. come on out of there. Now, you may want to end this with some windshield wipers or some lower trunk rotations. So you can end with a couple of these or some of these or whatever feels right to you, because you're going to notice that there's a lot of tension released in the core. And that's what we're going for, is that the core is nice and loose and that the lower back should actually feel better as a result. So we're going to be doing these quite often. These are also a great way to work on some anti-sitting stuff. So thanks for following along with me, and we'll see you in the next one.